Greetings, peace and blessings. Hope every day is a good day for everybody, including today. If you woke up, you were able to maneuver in your right mind with a decent spirit, make decisions on your own without any help. Today has been a good day. So, welcome. Come on in, y'all. Come on in. Greetings, Julia. Salute to you. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Happy Saturday, right? So, based off of the title, y'all, we're going to be addressing the value of relationships, right? And so we're going to get right into it. And based off of the title as well, we have a guest, of course, with my name, my alter ego name being Shirley, I need my Laverne. So let me go ahead and drop the link, and we're gonna get Miss Laverne up here so we can get right off into the content, right? And make this a really good discussion. These are some things that we really need to kind of talk about and we need to cover. We were talking about yesterday the origin of relationships and where the breakdown has been, and I'm speaking collectively, right? I'm not talking about everybody on an individual basis pertaining to your specific relationship. However, collectively, I just wanted to give a little context of why we are focusing in on relationships. If you watch me, you understand that I always seem to mention and bring everything back, topics of conversation back to family values, to core values, to relationships. You have to have a relationship in order to do anything else, to procreate, to produce, whether it's businesses, whether it's a life, whether no matter what the outcome, the desired outcome is, you need a relationship of some sort. It's up to you on how you want to choose that relationship, but we need relationships, and we need to know how to maneuver and how to look at relationships, because relationships are not selfish. They're not successful by us being selfish. They become successful by a level of selflessness. That doesn't mean that you lose who you are, that you sacrifice your essence, that you compromise your moral compass or your level of spirituality, or forget your foundation of your upbringing and the value system that was instilled in you coming up. But what it does mean, in my opinion, is that you need to have a mindset to where, guess what? This is not all about me. And everything that I say and do is not necessarily in the best interest of the relationship, of us collectively, of us as a union. It's a whole different dynamic. It's a whole different vibe. It requires different levels of energy as opposed to you being solo dolo and alone, right? So when it comes down to relationships, it's super important. And we are living in a time where people aren't valuing the depth and the weight and the benefits of being in a relationship. It goes from, but because it's so multi-layered, it goes from all the way to the beginning of knowing what to look for in a suitable partner, in a mate. It's to know what to be, what your attractions are, what your love language is, what satisfies you collectively as well as individually, where it works for the collective good, right? And so again, that takes a level of selflessness. It takes a level of being willing to be able to sacrifice and say, you know what, and not just say, but exhibit through your actions. Guess what? This is not all about me, and I care enough about the desired outcome and the union and the welfare of the unit as a whole, to put myself second every now and then. Let's just start there. Okay. It's okay to do that. It's required, as a matter of fact. So blessings, CMP. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Rachel Banks is in the building. Peace and blessings to you as well. So I don't know when my Laverne is, but I done dropped the link. So whenever she's ready, she'll come on, and we'll definitely collab and go from there. So there are some aspects to relationships, right? Now, one of the inspiring and motivation, I will say motivations to doing this collab and this live is actually stems from Kwame's live yesterday. Shout out to Kwame Brown Bus Life 2.0, his B channel, as well as just Kwame Brown Bus Life, right? And he's going through his own experiences with, siring children with baby moms, right? And then having to raise children under those circumstances where co-parenting definitely has its challenges, right? And so there's a bridge and a lack of communication. There is a gap. And so it really emphasized to me, even though I was aware, it just kind of confirmed for me personally, is that no matter what your stature is, no matter what your level of accomplishments are, no matter where you are, what your journey has looked like, you're going to have challenges. And the decisions that we make individually on choosing a mate and then maintaining the relationship is critical to the success of the relationship. Right. So one thing that I want to say is that I love and admire about Miss Yo Thoughts is that she speaks from her personal journey and her testimony, and she has a lot of wisdom in this area. And I have information and wisdom in my own personal experiences, but it's from a different dynamic than hers. And so it just gives different context, and it speaks to a broader audience and reaches more people because everybody's situation is different, right? And her marriage and her union with her husband used to be the majority, and now it's the minority. And so I feel privileged and I feel blessed to have her in my midst and to be able to have her come and share her wisdom, her experiences, things that have worked for her, things that have not worked for her marriage, her family, but more has worked than it has not. And so I'm super excited about that. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring my girl to the stage. Hey, beautiful.
It is beautiful, people. Hey, MSAKEMI, how are you, sis?
Oh,
How's it
I'm
going?
beautiful. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you. You
Good.
look great. Yes.
Thank
Thank
you. And
you
listen,
for being
say,
here.
no, thank you for having me. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you so much. So I hope you've been having a great day.
Yes, I have. It's any day that is productive. I wake up. I appreciate good health because I've been
Yeah,
in a situation where my health was not good and nothing else really mattered because I was too busy trying to regain my health and restore it, right? So
yes.
it really taught me not to take anything for granted, and it gave me a whole different lens to look through when it comes to life.
I know that's right. You know, the older you get, the more you realize that you should live each day like it's his last because you never know when, right? You
Come
never
on
know.
now.
So yeah, live and just live it up, live it up. I am just
Yeah.
so happy to be here. Hey, Chad, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are doing well. So, yeah, Mr. Kimmy, thank you for explaining to everybody how we got here. You know, yeah, because I think this is conversations to be continued when it comes to building relationships and a healthy relationships, right? Because everybody's going through something in a relationship. There is no such thing as a perfect relationship. So, you guys in the chat, Mr. Keeman, let's talk about it. Let's get
Let's
into
talk
this.
about it. Let's talk
Hey,
about it.
let's talk
So,
about it.
there are some topics that me and Miss Yo kind of went through,
Hmm.
and a lot of one of the questions that a lot of people, because hindsight is always, or it's usually should be 2020, but a
Hmm.
lot of times when we make decisions, those decisions, once they're made, there's no turning back. You can't go and undo it. You can't repair it. You can't put it back to its original form, right?
Hmm.
And so that brings me to the topic of sometimes people ask the question of, what do I do when I let go of the one that got away, of the
Hmm.
person that I invested, I sacrificed, I spent time with, I allowed myself to be vulnerable with, and to, we might have had children together. We might have created an entire family unit, and because of whatever the reasons are, now I regret those reasons. Speaking hypothetically, in
Yeah.
general, right?
Hmm.
Where do we go from, or how do you deal with the one that got away? How do you move on? How do you um, pursue other relationships? And are you able to pursue other relationships successfully when you're walking around feeling like the one that you should be with or should have been with, you let get away?
Well, well, well. That is very interesting. Okay, so first of all, I can't say that that's happened to me. So
Mhm.
I would feel really bad if the one that I love got away. My husband was my first love, right? He didn't get away because I wouldn't let him go nowhere. I knew what
Mhm.
I wanted. I knew what I was looking for in a relationship or in my partner. I knew what I wanted. I knew I wanted my children, right?
Mhm.
So, and I saw those qualities. Although I feel really, really bad for people that allow someone to so-called get away. And most of the time, people get away because I think that the person may be thinking, well, I want that perfect man or that perfect woman, and they feel like they could find it somewhere else. Get all the qualities in one person, but that'll never happen. It'll never happen if that's something that you're looking for. So if you're in a relationship when a person have more of the qualities that you desire, that's the one that you should stay with and work with. That's what I believe. Because if you don't, a whole lot of them will be getting away, and before you know it, you're going to be away by yourself without your heart's desires. If you desire to be in love, in a strong relationship, have father or mother of your children, you're going to be the one out back, wishing and hoping. I mean, regretting the things that you miss. That's the way I
Mhm.
see it. What do you think?
I love that perspective, and that definitely is valuable context to, the one getting away, because once that process goes through and it happens, you're going to have regret, right? And I think one of the reasons why people may allow other people to get away is because you have a certain level of expectations that you want met. And a lot of times, based off of the influence of social media,
Mm-hmm.
this cookie
Yeah.
cutter world that we're living in, the microwave effect where we want everything here and now. We don't
Yeah.
allow people to grow. We don't allow people a lot of times to be imperfect with grace. We don't forgive. A lot of us are at this point, we're not interested in forgiving. We're interested in moving on.
Right.
And you think about it, you're losing a lot of valuable time
Oh
based
yeah.
off of your expectations, because there's a definitely and you can't put a constraint on the time that it takes to get to know someone. I often hear you say that you and your husband have been married quite a while, and you
Oh yeah.
still, because you're forever evolving individually, you're going to always figure out or try to figure out, how do we get to really know one another, or
Mhm.
do we ever right? Because it's
Right.
forever evolving. So, but
Mm-hmm.
just giving grace, being able to forgive, and having realistic expectations. And I think a good way to do that is to also look at thyself, right?
For sure. Yeah.
Thyself is not going to yield perfection. I don't care how good you look. I don't care what accomplishments you have. None of
Mm-hmm.
us were born in perfection. So
Mm-hmm.
if we look from within, or we look within from the inside out, and
Yeah.
understand that we need to be given grace, that we need to be forgiven, that we need to have things that where they can pick their battles with us.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that grace word, right? So I think that's a possible solution to kind of head off any potential ways to say, oh, I let that one get away. Well, maybe your
Mm-hmm.
expectations and your realistic expectations should have been more reasonable.
That's it. I believe in what you just said. You're in your mind, your imagination of what a man or a woman should be in a relationship. You have to make sure that you yourself are checked first, for sure. It makes me think about this. I like to plant, plant food and vegetables and things like that. Well, all seeds don't look alike, you know? And when you plant the seed in the ground, sometimes if you don't know what's on the label, you don't know what that vegetable is going to turn out to be.
Hmm.
You have to give it time to grow in order to reap the fruits of that benefit. It's the same in a relationship when you're picking a mate. So you can't expect that instantaneously that they have everything that you want. It's going to have to grow in time. And you guys both going to have to nurture that process. He'll be nurturing you while you're growing, and you'll be nurturing him while he's growing, right? And sometimes you guys will grow together. Somebody's going to get a little taller than the other, but just give it a little bit more water. And y'all going to be right there. That's what it is with relationships, too.
And you
Okay?
said something key. You said give one another a little bit more water
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
in
Oh,
order for
yeah.
you to ascend and
Mhm.
meet vibrationally in the same era, on the same
Yes.
area, right? So that's important,
Most definitely.
because for you to sit back and criticize somebody as to how they're falling short of your expectations, but what are you doing to help lift that person up?
True. And scientists usually say that women are more smarter or they're more mature than the guys. That's what they say. That the women develop faster mentally, than the guys do. That's what they
Mhm,
say.
mhm,
But you never know in a relationship who has what qualities are they talking about when they say one develops faster than the other. See, because it's different qualities that develop at different times in the male and in the female. So you have
mhm.
to give each other a chance to grow. You have to give it time. Nothing is fast or instantaneous. We need to get that out of our mind, right? And work with one another and nurture each other, to grow together, or in the same direction, you know?
Mhm. I
Yeah,
think one of the problems in today's culture is that everything seems to be pushed to be so equal.
right.
And men and women are not equal.
At all. Not at
We
all.
have our roles, the men have their roles. We are
Yes.
made differently, not
Mm-hmm.
just physically, but psychologically as well as emotionally.
Yes.
There is a video that I saw where it gave a gentleman gave perspective on, and basically just to sum it up, he said that when women cry, that there's testosterone in the tear.
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
if men have the same level of emotion,
Mm-hmm.
then they're giving away their testosterone as if they cried like women. So I think that
Mm-hmm.
that made a very strong distinction, that
Mm-hmm.
you as a woman, we have to, there's that book, and I'm not saying I agree with all of the talking points, but I
Mm-hmm.
think the title says think like a man.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, as a woman, even if we don't think like a man, we need to
Mm-hmm.
understand our men.
Yeah, that's the part. Instead of thinking like him, you need to understand him. He can
Mhm.
think for himself. So can the woman. He just have to have a way of articulating what he's thinking to his woman, and vice versa. But you can't think for them because you're not that species. That's just like saying think like a dog and act like a cat.
Or expect a man to give birth.
Right. It's just not
That's
happening.
not
It's
gonna
not
happen.
right. So yeah, that's false expectations. But some women buy into that kind of stuff. So do men. We have to bring them back to reality. It don't work like that. You can't think like a man. You just can't. Especially if you're a woman, and vice versa, man. You can assume by looking at some of the traits of your mother or your aunts and people in your family, and maybe what they would do. But that mate that you're with, he might be way off, way left field, because everything ain't for everybody. It has to be that chemistry between the two of you, that male and female, that sleep their head on the same pillow at night. That breathe and they smell that breath in the morning, them same two people. Ain't nobody in between those pillows. And that's how a relationship should be. Nobody be in between those pillows. Okay?
I agree. So listen, T. Smith says, first, welcome to people coming in the chat. We got Cutting Edge in the chat. Hey, peace and blessings. Nana Nee, peace and blessings to you. I see T. Smith in the house. Hey, Damn D. Salute to you. Happy Saturday. Yes. Thank you for being here.
Yep. Oh, sorry to interrupt. I poured me one of those shooters and put it in. I'm thinking I'm going to need this for this round. Let's go.
Get your libation going, ma'am. That's what I'm talking about. Okay? Indeed. So I saw the comment that T. Smith said he picked females who didn't understand the Most High. That's his fault. He knows better now. I want to focus on the knowing better.
Okay.
When you know better, you do better, right? And I've been really kind of targeting this or incorporating it in conversations. In my commentary, speaking on when you grow older, you go through more, you realize based off of the things that you didn't like, that's how you were able to discover some of the things that you did like. But gaining wisdom and understanding is super important as long as we gain it and we learn from our experiences, like we say, having those teachable moments, right? And so incorporating that wisdom and realizing immediately, last time I did that didn't end so well. I may not want to take that same route this time around, right?
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to, and definitely understanding the Most High, that when the scripture speaks of being equally yoked, that's a real thing. That's a real thing. And it's often misunderstood.
Yes. Yeah, it sure is. You're right. You have to have some kind of quality. Okay, because to be attractive, to attract one another. That vibration. See, I talk a lot about that, about vibrations. And that vibration is the sense of being equally yoked. That's the draw. That's the attraction to the opposite sex. The vibration of the two people, right? And whatever level, here's another trick that people don't know. If you're going out to a club with your girlfriends or whatever, and y'all going just to have a good time, and a guy might come over to the table, want to offer you a drink, and you can offer the other girl a drink and the other one a drink, and not just you, that's not the person you're supposed to pay attention to. Because whoever come over to the table to talk to you, that's the magnetic draw specifically for you. That person is on your same vibration at that time. Only at that time, right? So the way you meet them, like they say, the same thing it took to get them, it's going to be the same thing to keep them. That's the same thing. That you have to stay on that person's vibration, right? I'm just saying you can't just jump at everything that comes to you. You have to really be careful and pay attention to how you attract something. And when you attract something, you have to be careful of what you're putting out. So if you go into a club and you just want a one-night stand, you're going to attract that fellow that's going to give you exactly what you're asking for. If you're going out, you're looking for somebody in a relationship or somebody like maybe a serious relationship, you're going to attract that. You're going to attract that to you. See, so it's very important how you move. and be careful the way you move. Yeah.
Yes, no,
Hmm.
definitely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about something that I think most will definitely find interesting. And if not, they will also have an opinion on. And
Hmm.
it seems to be a really hot topic. But what I would like to do is lead with a little short video to
Okay.
give a more, more of an intro to the topic. So give me just a moment.
Okay. Take your time. And hey, everybody, come in the chat. Come on in. Make yourself at home over
Yes,
at
come on
your house.
in, tap that like button, get comfortable. Hopefully, Miss Yo got her little libation going on over there.
Yeah.
Feel free to take this opportunity to do the
Yeah.
same. Or if you need to flick up something and light up something, do that as well.
You can do what it do.
Yes, whatever
Make it
floats
do
your
it.
boat.
Yeah, yeah. It's the weekend. Shoot.
Okay. Um, wait a minute. I don't think. Hold on, don't give me the line. Okay, I got you.
Okay. Take your
I
time. Take your time.
got you.
Okay. Yeah.
You've already invested 20 years of your life with this man. Should you leave him? Hello, my name is Carlin. Restoring healthy mindsets is my thing. So we found out he cheated, but we have kids, investments, health insurance, life insurance, cars. What should we do? I wish I could say to leave him, but at some point, we need to be smarter and not think with this. This is for the women that get it, that understand where I'm coming from, and that know their value, but because they know their value in their hard work, they decide to stay. That doesn't mean that you're going to let him walk all over you because he cheated on you. No. But we need to understand that just because the man that you were with cheats on you and you find out, does not necessarily mean that the best choice is to leave. And it sounds counterintuitive, right? But sometimes we need to think about our retirement plans. Like, I'm sorry, I'm just being realistic here. We aren't going to get the years back, and we can't turn back time and start all over. Everything from this moment on, after you find out he cheated on you, will change. The treatment you give your man is going to be different. The love and care that you give him is going to be different. The love and care you give yourself is going to be different. As long as he still wants to be with you and does not want to file a divorce, we're going to hold on to that. I know it's going to sound selfish and it's going to sound counterintuitive, but if he is not physically abusive, emotionally abusive, or a psycho, I recommend for you to stay, but stay with purpose and stay with the plan for yourself. And
What do you think about that?
I think she's a smart woman.
Mm-hmm.
She's a very smart woman because he cheated on her. That's his problem. That's really his problem. That's something that he has to really deal with. Of course, the woman, the female, is going to have pain and want to be upset about what happened. And she, if she's a woman that don't know who she is, the whole essence of her and what she brings to the relationship, she's going to feel a sense of insecurity. She's going to feel like, why he do that to me? Why am I not good enough for him? But if she comes in that relationship knowing that she's a boss, knowing that she can have the world if she wants to, knowing that she's a blessing to him as well as he being a blessing to her, then she can move through that and past that and still live happily ever after. Why?
Mm.
Because it happened to me. That's why, right? And of course, you have to make sure that they're not what you call habitual cheaters and all that
Yes.
old crazy shit. Now, if that's that, that's something totally different. We're not
Yes.
talking about that,
I'm
right?
glad you're making that distinction because it is totally different.
Oh yeah, and we need to make sure I emphasize this. You know what you bring in a relationship, and of course, the dynamics is going to change once that happens. But that's a conversation that the two people have to have and get another understanding. Revamp that contract that I be telling y'all all about. Let them know that this is going to be a deal breaker, especially if you didn't tell them in the beginning that it was going to be a deal breaker. If they did that, that's something I did. I didn't say that would be a deal breaker in the beginning. So my bad. But now that you know and on notice, you do that again. That's deal breaker. That's one of the deal.
Right.
Because I have a lot of deal breakers. That's just one of them. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, and like she said, how long was she in a relationship before that happened? I think she said like 12 years or something like that, or
Enough
20 years.
time, enough
Yeah,
time to,
children, with
yeah,
children,
it's gonna be tough to divvy up some stuff when
with
it's
two
all said and
children,
done.
right? So then the woman have to ask herself, do I want my children to go through this breakup with me? Am I gonna be selfish and just allow them to go through this breakup with me because my feelings are hurt? Because the person that I love uh, did this to me, and I want them to experience the pain that I'm experiencing. Because the children are definitely going to experience that pain that you're feeling. You can't hide that, mama, not from the children. But I was told by my grandmother. She told me that will be the worst pain. It's like a death, and that's the worst pain you will ever feel. And they can't. And that feeling that you have would never happen to you again. You would never
Yes,
feel that again ever. And
yeah,
guess what? Grandma knows best.
she was right.
She was right.
Mhm.
Anybody, not after that time, you can never be hurt again, ever. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's
No,
a piece of me
I'm
that I
glad
want to
you
share with
led
you
with
all.
that. Yes, well,
Mm-hmm.
thank you for your transparency. But you
Oh
know what?
yeah. Oh yeah.
That's where you want the knowledge and the wisdom to come from, as somebody that has been through it,
Been
somebody
there,
that
done
can speak from experience.
it.
I saw a clip where someone said that we've all been betrayed. We've all been cheated on in one, because there's different forms of being cheated on. You
Oh
have
yeah.
emotional cheating, you
Mm-hmm.
have physical cheating, you have when people are checking out of the
Mm-hmm.
relationship and their attention is going elsewhere, even though they haven't physically disrespected the relationship. Again,
Uh-huh.
we have more sides to us than just the physical. You've got the
Oh yeah.
emotional, the spiritual, the psychological. So just the fact that things have shifted and changed and there's been distance established in the relationship means that that person's attention is going somewhere else.
Yes. Yes.
Even if it may not be another person of the opposite sex, it's still not going to you, right?
Yes. Exactly right. And here's the thing I wanted to add too. Don't think, women don't think, and men don't think that you haven't cheated, although you haven't physically cheated. Because the Bible says, so as a man think, so is he. So if you see a woman and you think about having sex with her because you see her shape and her size and you imagine yourself doing it, the Bible's telling you it's already done. You already did it.
Mm.
One man, same difference. Sex is all in the mind anyway. It's mental. Even though you're touching and feeling, it's still in the mind. That helps you reach your climax. So sex is in the mind. So you all cheat. We all have cheated at some point in our life, whether it be in the mind, mentally, or physically. You see? Think about that.
And so we've all done something we needed to be forgiven for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, I do want to kind of elaborate a little bit on what you were saying about how, and you evolved into that. Once that experience happened, you were like, okay, now I'm establishing or reestablishing some parameters of this union. And these are some things that I will tolerate and things I will absolutely not tolerate. Now, I'm a big advocate for people telling you from the beginning. I respect men, and because I'm a woman, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
respect men if they approach me and we're considering taking it a step further in the relationship or forming a relationship. And he says to me, I believe in polygyny, or I believe in having more. I'm not going to be faithful. I'm not going to just be with you.
Yeah.
Give me the option and the choice to say if that's something I'm willing to engage in and share
Not.
with you or
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
right? But I
Mm-hmm.
now where I feel it gets to be real sticky for me, to the point where I can forgive you, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stay with you, is
Oh
if
yeah. Yeah. I
you
see what
know
you're
who
saying.
you are. If
Yeah.
you know who
Mm-hmm.
you are coming into this, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to tell you who I am. I'm going to tell
Right.
you what my belief system is. I'm going to tell
Mm-hmm.
you what I will tolerate and what I absolutely will not tolerate.
Mm-hmm.
And so, based off of that alone, he's going to know whether it's going to work out between him and I or not.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
give me the choice by saying it from the beginning. If that's
Yeah.
who you are, then
Right.
be transparent enough to say that. Even if I say, well, I can't do it, I'm not
Right.
comfortable with that. This is not going to work. But
Mm-hmm.
you were at least, you cared enough about yourself and you cared enough about me to
Mm-hmm.
give me that choice and that transparency with your truth.
Right.
What do you
That's
think about it?
yeah. In other words, make it plain.
Make it
Make it
plain.
plain what your intentions are coming into a relationship, and everybody need to do that. And then I want to say, you have to give people grace too. All right, and this is not making excuses for when people go beyond what you will accept. Right. So when I was talking about the part about relationship and the cheating, well, I was 18. Right. He was
Mhm.
19, get ready to go on 20. That's when it began. That's when it happened. So you young, I'm young.
Mhm.
That's not an excuse because you know better, just like I know better. We both come from parents that been married a long period of time and all these things like that, right? So it's not making an excuse. I have no children or nothing like that, right? So you have to um, give a person a chance to grow, and make mistakes because you will make mistakes in a relationship. My thing is, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? How bad do you want to build with this man? How, do you want children with this man? How bad do you want your dreams? Everything else on your list checked off to be exactly what you both agreed to.
Mhm.
So if it's alteration in that plan, do you get rid of him? And my answer is no. No. That's when you have to go back and take it back to the table. You see, Mr. Kimmy, you got
Mhm.
to take that
I
table.
do.
Right?
No, I
And then you have
definitely.
to be given a little bit too. You can't always have everything your way because relationships are give and take. But you can say, don't do that no more. Because if you do that
Mhm.
more, I can tell you, and you can be out. You
Mhm.
see? It's up to
Well,
you. You know how to treat you. You see?
for me though, like you also said, you were talking about it being as long as it's not habitual.
Yeah.
Now, a one-off or a mistake or
Yeah.
um, a weakness in the relationship,
Hmm.
or a weakness in you,
Yeah.
whatever
And
the case may be, right?
hmm
I,
hmm
I'm not, I'm not too rigid where I just can't process that.
right.
It's just if it is habitual, and I know that that's
Hmm.
not going to be something I'm going to be able to flourish or
Hmm.
continue to bring and add value to the relationship, knowing that you and I are not on the same page on an issue that is super important to me.
Right. That part. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Then to me, it's like, okay, I can't deal with somebody that's habitual, that says it'll never happen again, and then you turn around and you do it again. So there are definitely there's wiggle room depending on who you are, your belief system,
Yeah.
who you're with, their belief system, your
Hmm.
experiences. Because a lot of times people get cheated on and they're traumatized. So now it becomes a trigger. So if it happens again, even if it's with a different person, that's a deal breaker.
True, that's true. But it can be triggering. It could be you can be traumatized by something like that because it's such a painful and hurtful thing to go through. That's really not nothing easy. Like I told you, my grandmother said it was like a death, and that'd be the worst pain you'll ever feel. And that is the truth. But at the same time, it also makes you smarter. And someone
Yeah.
may say, well, what makes you think that they won't do it again?
Mhm.
See, people may say, but they do it one time. They say once a cheater, always a cheater. I don't agree with that. I don't
Neither
agree
do
with
I.
it. I
Yes.
don't agree with it because
As long as it's not habitual.
right. If it's
Yeah,
a
but
bitch,
it's not a one size fits all, definitely.
exactly. Right.
Mhm.
And I believe that if when I say once a cheater, they say always a cheater. I said I don't believe that but that's not making me say, well, that's you say that because you want to make things work and you blinded. Oh no, because the person that was cheated on will be the first one that will realize the signs again if it happened again. The triggers will go up way before it happened. They will see the person way before it's coming because they're in protective mode and like, okay, what they doing? What they doing? You know, what they doing? Is they cheating again? Well, you know, they'll be on God. So yeah, you'll know. You'll know. Male and female, you'll know. Pay attention. Yes.
Well, she's
Mm-hmm.
got a couple more words to say. Video's almost
Okay.
over, so let's just hear her out real quick.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
And this is the precise time that you need to be smart about where you're going to invest your knowledge, your career, where you're going to work, what you're going to do with your time. Because now, even though it's a relationship, you're going to have to see it as if your partner is your colleague. It sounds cold, but believe me, if you want to save yourself time and build a future for yourself, it's better for you to stay. And that's only if the benefits of staying is greater than leaving. Because if leaving is greater than staying, baby girl, be smart when you're going to leave. Be smart on your rights and get informed because he's not going to go gentle on you. There's going to be a second part to this because I can go on and talk about this because us as women need to be smarter. And I'm going to be 100% real with you. But like you've already invested 20 years of your life.
Okay. So what I would like to say in reference to that is when she speaks on being smarter, the first thing that comes to my mind is not being so emotional.
Yes, that's
And
it.
not
That's
speaking strictly from the heart and disregarding the brain and logic and common sense, right? Because, like you said, your grandmother told you, and anyone that has experienced it can probably more than agree that it feels like a near-death experience or like somebody
oh
died,
yeah. Oh
right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're definitely going to be affected emotionally,
Mhm.
and it's going to filter into other aspects of your being, and so it's going to be a doozy. But when
Mhm.
the dust settles, you can't continue to react from a strictly emotional place. You have to be logical. And if you have, especially if you have children, assets, things that you've accumulated together, and again, because when you're married, that marriage certificate is a business contract.
That's right. Everything is joint.
And when you're dealing with business partners, you cannot,
Mhm.
again, come from an emotional place.
Right. That's right. So you have to really be smart about it. And another, like you said, Mr. Kimmy, you got to think about this. Um, those few seconds that they share with a stranger not only can destroy his life, but can destroy yours and your children's life. So why would a person, a woman or a man, allow someone to have that much power over your life? See, like she said, you have to think smarter. That 2 seconds that they shared, if I had went half habit and gone crazy and just all of this, could have destroyed my life. I wouldn't even have my 2 children. My 2 children wouldn't have been here. They weren't even born then. You see? I would have missed out on having 2 beautiful children. You see, my legacy to live, right? If I was like that, no, I'm very smart. I'm a very wise woman. That's why I'm on here talking to y'all. You
Amen to that.
know what I'm saying? Okay, that's why I'm here because I can tell you what to do, what works, and what don't work. You know, it's just what it is. Yeah.
So the takeaway from this talking point, or the takeaways, I should say, one is to think logically and not be super emotional. If you're a woman, I'm speaking from a feminine perspective, right? And it can be applicable to both parties because men get cheated on as well. I'm not negating that, but I can't speak from a man's perspective. And to really give it a different perspective, right? And to weigh everything. But like Miss Yo said, she wouldn't have been able to continue her legacy had she acted impulsively on that transgression at that particular time, and she wouldn't be in the position that she's in now. Now, I'm going to definitely say that that's a person's personal choice, because
Yes.
some people don't have the capacity to be able to, you may be able to forgive, but
Mm-hmm.
you like I said, if it's a trauma response, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to shut down. It's going to change the dynamic of the relationship.
But it's gonna
And
change the way. Oh, I'm sorry, honey. I'm
no, what
sorry.
I'm saying is, like some people have different capacities. You have some
Mhm.
people that are able to forgive and move past it.
Okay,
It
yeah.
they're non-habitual, right? And you have
Mm-hmm.
some people that are, because they have either maybe low self-esteem, they have their own personal issues where
Yeah,
they're not able
yeah,
to
yeah.
flourish, continue on the trajectory that they were on prior to that, all of that happening.
Mm-hmm.
um, it'd be counterproductive for them to stay in that relationship, because it's
Good.
going to take two to put the work in to do the healing and to
Right,
go through
yeah.
the healing
Mm-hmm.
process, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if the person that has been cheated on is not at that point, or is doesn't have the capacity or the
Mm-hmm.
ability to be able to, even if they forgive, they can't forget, or they now they're the dynamic of the relationship has changed because they're moving differently. They're
Right. Yeah,
in different
yeah,
positions
yeah,
that aren't, you know, you're not 150% in like you were before, because now you're
yeah.
on guard. And I'm just keeping it real.
Yeah, yeah. You can be on guard either way.
And for at least initially, you're going, that tape is going to play over in your head. You're going to have feelings of betrayal,
Yeah.
or at least most do. And so with those come a reaction. They come, you're going to react differently, and you're
Mm-hmm.
going to interact differently with that person than you
Yeah,
did prior to happening, at least for a time.
I
So if you
do.
can't get through that, then we don't know.
I agree with you with what you're saying. I really do agree. But I do want to say you would never forget. I don't give a damn how much therapy you have.
Never.
I don't
Yep.
care what it is.
If I said that, I correct myself,
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
didn't
You
want to say that.
you can never forget. You gonna remember the day. You gonna remember the hour. You gonna remember the scene. You gonna remember all that. You can never forget it. You never forget
Mhm.
it. So yeah, I do get what you're saying, Mr. Kimmy. That's true. Everybody, capacity is different. Yeah. So go with what you know, but seek help if you need to, because some
Mhm.
people they need that, and I advise you to go do that. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's nothing. Let me tell you, I'm glad you brought that up,
Yeah.
because a lot of people will self-diagnose, or they don't want to be embarrassed by telling other
Yeah.
people how shamed they felt, or
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times people think it's a reflection upon the person that was cheated on,
That's it.
not the person that did the act, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of times people don't want to go out and express that I feel betrayed, I feel hurt, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that person doesn't love me or doesn't value
Yeah.
our relationship, because if they did, they wouldn't have done that. And
Right.
especially a stranger, if you're talking about a therapist, or somebody in that capacity. So I definitely, if you're open to trying to get past that and heal in the midst of that during the relationship, don't count that out. I know it might be hard, but maybe
Yeah.
that's a solution for your situation.
And one more thing I want to add before we move on, Mr. Kino, on the same topic. Also, the people that's looking at you saying, wow, um, I can't believe he did that to her. Or I can't believe she did that to him. Like that cheating thing, you better bet 100% that that relationship, they did something happened in that same relationship. So the one that's looking at you for to have this perfect everything, this perfect relationship, this perfect marriage, this perfect everything, that shit ain't perfect either. They
Nobody
leave.
said
They just ain't telling it. They just not telling it because
that.
everybody has problems or had problems like that in a relationship, especially if you've been married to for almost 100 damn years. Go.
That's right.
Let's
No,
go.
for real. Cheers
Yeah.
to that.
Mhm.
Absolutely. No, definitely. I totally agree with that. Those are some
Yeah.
great points.
Mm.
Um, uh, oh, I think I saw greetings to No Drama, No Problem. T. Smith, have a wonderful day. If you said peace out, so if you're still listening, salute to you. Thank you for being here. We got Miss 504. She says she's here, but she's listening.
Hey,
Hey,
family. What's up?
blessing. Yeah, what's up? What's up? Thank you. All right,
Hey.
so let's move on to another talking point. We got a couple more to go, but I also would like to lead this with a video and a man's perspective
Okay.
this time around to try to, give it some balance, right?
Okay.
And this is speaking on men being emotional,
Okay.
and if does it classify a man being weak if he expresses emotion? Now, to me, there's a difference between being emotional and expressing emotion, right?
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Being emotional, we can kind of put that hat on a woman's head. But when it comes to expressing emotion, does it really make a man appear to be less than if he does express emotion? So I would like to give a man's perspective. Give it just a moment.
Okay.
Top 3 reasons why men need to cry more. 1, most men are emotionally constipated. Energy wants to move. Our emotions are energy in motion. So when we ball up energy, when we ball up emotion, we get blocked. Blocks create imbalances physically, mentally, emotionally, financially. It creates imbalance. The second reason more men need to cry.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's break them down one by one. So he's saying that one of the reasons, now he started it off by saying that men need to cry. Now, I'm not a man, but I don't hear men say that very often, right? Where men needs to cry. Now, I hear that it's okay for a man to cry, but that a man needs to cry. Now, this is why I would partially agree with him just on that particular portion of the statement. Is because God created man with the ability to do so. So if a man wasn't supposed to have wasn't supposed to cry, or if he was looked at as being weak, then why was he given the ability and the provision to manifest that emotion in that way?
Well, I believe that it's a time and a place for everything. I don't want no man walking around with a box of tissue.
Right.
So I'm just sorry. That's just not for me. But they do supposed to cry because, like you said, if the emotions wasn't there, you're supposed to express your emotions. Either way, they're supposed to come out some type of way, right? But I think it's a time that you do that, right? And it could, like say at a funeral, the loss of a person that you care about, like your parent or something like that. That's a different type of thing. But just to be crying, man, I think that's some new stuff. That's some new to me. Because and the people I know don't do no whole lot. The men didn't do no lot of crying, especially not around the children and the women. They may go in the corner somewhere, but not around you. So I don't know. I don't see it that way. What about you?
I agree with that. I definitely don't want to, because I'm not. I certain things evoke emotion for me.
Yeah.
Certain passions, but overall, I'm not an emotional person.
Yeah.
And so I definitely don't want what I consider to be a masculine man around me matching my energy when it comes to that, or surpassing my energy when it comes to that. So there has to be a distinction between the two. I need to know that you a man, that you masculine, that you can handle some stuff. Yeah, because you're they were created and built to handle pressures of the world that women were not.
I'm so sorry.
Penny said, listen. So listen, hey, Miss Joy, peace and blessings to you. Coming in from the baseball game. Oh, I hope the weather's nice there. This is where I'm at. It's been a little overcast. I've been out in it, but I like the sun. I like the sunshine. But I'll take as long as it's not raining. So I hope you enjoyed yourself. Definitely. Thank you, Miss Joy Joy, for being here. So yeah, going through. Um, okay, so he doesn't have a lot of comments on this, but I just thought I wanted to give again a male's perspective um, on how they view, or this one in particular views the ability to be able to show emotion. Because when it comes down to it, again, even though I agree with Miss Yo, even though a man was given the ability to be able to shed tears, doesn't mean that it needs to be done without discretion, right? There's a time and a place for everything. So I definitely agree with that. But let's get to his second point.
Okay.
Right, is because it shatters this old paradigm that vulnerability is weakness. Actually, vulnerability is strength, because when you are vulnerable, you have nothing to hide. When you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to prove. When you have nothing to prove, you're free from expectations and judgments. And the third reason is it.
Now, I agree with that when it comes to an extent, when it comes to relationships, not navigating out in the real world or dealing with people like colleagues, strangers, when you're doing business deals, even when you might be out with your boys or whatever. I think there again, this is, goes back to that time and a place, to be able to allow yourself to be vulnerable. Because I know for me, even as a woman, I'm not going to show my vulnerability to people I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
willingly, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely a time and a place for that. And like you said, in relationships, I can see you doing it behind closed doors with your mate, but not outward. No, that's not manly to me.
Me
But
neither.
not to me at all. I'm just saying.
And again, I wanted it to come from a man, and I'm sure there are different men that have different opinions, and different standards on how they feel emotion should be shown from a man's perspective. But I did pick this one because he broke it down, and I wanted to just definitely kind of go over each talking point to kind of give our take on it. So let's go with the third one, unless you have something else to add to this second one that you said.
No. Go right ahead.
Okay.
Will allow you to be more authentic. Old, blocked, unprocessed emotions cover up our authentic self. They cover up our authentic voice, our authentic thoughts. And so when you release that stuff, you'll actually find your authentic self. And hey, when you're acting authentically and in alignment, you'll have clarity, you'll have confidence, you'll have all those things you're looking for. So start crying, man. It's a good thing. Top three.
I don't know if he could have ended it like that.
No, not at all. But didn't I think about this too, Mr. Keeman? Emotions do need to be released, right? But there's a whole lot of ways to release emotion. It don't have to be crying for men and for women. You can work out, you can release stress that away. Just think about the saliva and the tears, or the when you blow your nose, or the fluids that come from your body. You're still releasing. You don't have to be crying to do it. So I don't agree with him with that part about that energy having to be blockage in energy, because energy is going to move whether you want it to move or not. It'll be blocked. It's going to move whether you want it to not. That's like trying to stop electricity from flowing. You can't. So a man can release that if he get mad. A man could cry, and crying mad to fight. Not so much as being wimpy to cry. You know what I'm saying? So it's some of the things that he said a little off to me.
Yeah. No, definitely. But you know what? To me, it's like showing examples or clips where we always agree doesn't really drive the conversation.
Yeah.
No, definitely. I'm with you on that. I think that I don't agree with some of his, his rationales. I can say that word. But again, he's a man, I'm not. And so from his perspective, and it may have helped him, but that's why different strokes for different folks. So what may work for him may not work for another man, or doesn't work for another man.
Well, let me ask you this, Mr. Keeman. So if they got since they've been labeling stuff, they got the alpha male and the beta male. So which one cries the most?
The
I don't
beta,
know.
or they
Oh,
want, they're more emotional. They're more driven from an emotional place is the beta.
okay. Yeah, okay. All right, gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
Alphas aren't supposed to show emotion, not in the culture we're living in. Alphas are the natural leaders,
Yeah,
and they are the ultimate leaders of.
that's what I have. Okay, that's what I like. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. All right.
Amen to that. Amen to that, right?
Yeah,
So
go
ain't
ahead.
nothing less attractive than to see. I don't like to see women or pets whine because I feel like you can articulate yourself. I've been telling my sons since they were little and they started that whine and stuff. I do like this. Use your words. Don't cut that right on. And I don't respond to that. I'm not
Yeah,
acknowledging that. And I'm
right.
not going to even feed into that. So when
Mhm,
you can communicate effectively and you can use your words, even if
uh,
it's accompanied by snot, that's fine. But I
yeah.
want you to use your word. If you can't do that, then you come to me when you can. And I mean that. And
Mhm,
so, instilling that in them, it's helped them balance that out because even if they want to get emotional or there's a
mhm.
time and a place for it, they can at least um, reserve that for a better time and a place and an opportunity where it's more, more personal.
Right, and hence self-control.
That's the word I was looking for. That's it. Thank you, Laverne.
Yeah, okay, Shirley. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I
No, definitely. Okay, so there's one more video and one more perspective I would like to give on the same topic. It's another short video.
All right.
It's just a minute long. So let's go ahead and share that. And let's hear what this brother's got to say to give a little variety or a little different context than what we just heard. So here we
Okay.
go.
Is it
Hey,
weak for a
Chad.
man to cry in front of his wife? I feel that the biggest bullshit ever handed down from generation to generation, man to man, is that boys don't cry and that we should hold down our emotions. By holding down your emotions, you trap the emotions, never allowing the body, the nervous system to process the traumatic event. Most men will never understand the strength required to be vulnerable, to stop, process, accept, and let go. I used to think that crying in front of my wife was a sign of weakness. Today, I'll tell you, I was wrong. To be vulnerable in front of my wife took true strength. And any man listening today that seeks to better themselves as a human being for their wives, for their loved ones, first have to let go of the pain that holds them back. Some of the deepest and meaningful relationship comes from being vulnerable, and crying is the process of letting go.
Now, I want to point out something. He was working out in this video.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
And I think that men, and it's just an observation, so definitely correct me if I'm wrong for any men that want to object in the chat. I feel like that's one of the alternatives to expressing emotion and to balancing the hormones and to getting out the aggression, like or anger or hurt or releasing negative emotions. They are comprised that way. And so that's why I also feel like it's easier for men to absorb themselves into exercise and working out too, because it has to benefit them in a way that is not just physical. But then that's just my take on it. What do you think?
Well, I think our black men didn't have to worry about that, exercising because our black men worked from sun up to sundown, and they had real jobs, not behind no desk. So most of our men didn't do no crying. They released themselves doing work.
So
When they had
physical activity,
physical activity was working for the family. It
right?
was, and they had camaraderie with their co-workers, other men. So they had time to talk around that cooler. See, they didn't have no cooler back then. The office cooler that these other folks have, office coolers. And they're
Mhm,
all supposed to outside in the elements. Like
mhm.
you know, walking behind trash cans, doing construction work, doing the dirty work. That's what our men did. So we were releasing at that time, working on railroads. I'm talking about things that my people did. They were doing those type of jobs, right? So they were releasing that stress and energy with one another. Then they was maybe after they got off from work, they'll go get a cold beer at a bar. Then they go home to the wives and the children. That's what their way of decompressing. They didn't have to do no crying. Not like that. That's why they were so strong and robust and sturdy. That's what I grew up with. So it's just new to me to hear about a man crying to release. I'm like, what? I can't wrap my head around that. But I do understand that a man can do that in the privacy of the home with the wife, doing a particular situation maybe, or doing a loss of the family or something like family member that's close to them. They may have a vulnerable time where they may just release at that time. But I've never seen nothing about them on their knees just losing it and just woo. I don't know the man like that.
Now I wouldn't go as far to say that, because I haven't seen that either. I don't even see boys do that. Boys be able to handle their emotions better than going, like you say, falling out and doing all that. But what I will say is that I think some of that can be translated into the way that they're communicating with these women. And I'm talking about presently, right? In the temperature and the culture of the modern woman, of the soft guy era, of all of these different movements that are being created to feed off and to at least try to at least mirror what they see as wrong in the other sex, or prove a point, or just reestablish some type of dominance when it comes to the weight of a relationship and the roles of a relationship. So instead of them crying, and they are showing it in other ways. They are withholding things like dates, sex, courting, the way that me and you are accustomed, and people of our generation are accustomed to terms like courting, matrimony, being in a relationship or a marriage long term, working through things, not a one and done rule where you got one time to do something egregious and glass out the door. You don't get any grace. You don't get any second chances. And so I wanted to bring up this topic because to me it parallels whether, even if a man is not boohoo crying and he's not showing, the feminine emotions or emotions of actually releasing tears and sobbing or whatnot, they are definitely being able to manifest those same emotions in other ways. And so I just wanted to bring that to light.
Definitely in other ways, because just like I was saying, I could count on one hand how many times I saw my father cry. And and he lived to be, and my dad was almost 80 when he died. I can count on one hand. He didn't even cry at his funeral. I can count on one hand how many times I see my own husband cry. I don't. That's just like unheard of. But they express themselves though. They still have a way of communicating to who they love. They still have a way of releasing stress. So I'm thinking that this new wave that's going on is to get the so-called alpha males to adopt some of the beta males' ways. And I think that that's a form of demasculating the man.
That's the agenda.
That's what I see. So okay. I just had to get that out of my head because I'm thinking I'm trying to rationalize this in my head. So that's okay.
Hey, Selena, welcome. It's good to see you, sis.
Hello, hey baby, hey everybody.
Hey y'all, hey y'all.
We read the chat. We just talking. I always do that.
No, that's good. I got you. I'm kind of doing this and a little bit of that while listening. page, but I did want to highlight Joy's comment
Okay.
when we were talking about, the men possibly using exercise as a way of expressing themselves so they don't have to go through meltdowns and
Yes.
what we
Yeah.
were kind of talking about with the tears and the this and the that, right? The whining, so to speak. So she says exercise does help balance hormones, and that's for men and women, right?
Yeah.
Which
Mm-hmm.
helps with stress and emotions. Absolutely. I feel also men need to stay active in some form. Listen, Miss Joy, we all need to stay active.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
of us need to be active. Look at all the people that are working from home that
Yeah.
used to have to, because it wasn't uncommon for you to have to go into an office. You take a corporate world, right? You take your tennis shoes, and during lunch hour, you go fast walking, or you walk to go get
Yeah.
your lunch, or you go and you walk around the building or the neighborhood
Yeah.
just to
And
get
walking.
some fresh air because you're locked inside and you're sitting behind a desk or whatnot. And then when we got into the pandemic, now everybody's from home. Don't nobody even have to go nowhere. We got Amazon where they're bringing packages to the
Yeah.
door. You don't even have to go to the grocery store. You don't have to hit Walmart anymore, right?
Mhm.
You can have everything brought. So and we wonder why people are like losing their minds. They're out of shape. They're
Yeah.
obese. The
Yeah.
diets are poor. And then you think all of that does not affect the psyche, the psychological makeup. You think it
Mhm.
doesn't affect the emotions. Food and
Yes.
diet affects all of that. Your
That's what I
level of
say.
and low vibrations and low activity affects all of that. And I yield the
Right.
floor.
No, but you're right. You're right. And then we also have to think about the times of the year when the time is set back. It was dark. It get dark early. We got to think about all kinds of things that can cause men and women to be emotionally or over emotional. Use their emotions a little bit too much. Be a little over emotional. But I wanted to think about. I'm thinking about this now. When we talk about a man crying, are we talking about a man crying? Or a man whining? Is that because sometimes you got men that don't release tears, but they're emotional in their complaining and in their emotions with their words.
Communication.
Yeah. You got me.
Mhm.
So to me, that's one and the same.
That's why I've intertwined the
That's one and the same. Okay, that's
yep.
one and the same. Okay,
Mhm.
yeah. I don't know if too many men like. I wasn't raised with that kind of stuff going on.
No,
But
neither was I. And like yourself, my father transitioned. He was 67 years old. And I
hmm
think I saw him 3 times cry in my life. 3.
yeah, you
And
got
now
one.
one time, I'm going to be real. He broke down. It was concerning my mom.
hmm Yeah,
That scared me so bad because I ain't never seen no man, much less my daddy,
right.
fall out
Yeah,
like he did. But
I
he
know.
was going through was that near-death experience we were talking about. And
Oh, I
so,
see.
yeah, no, it was a lot, but it was like, okay, 3 times in my entire life I saw that.
That's wow. That's
We
like
weren't raised around that type of temperature
no, not at
environment or that makeup of a man, and now you got these men out here saying, look, if you don't get my nails done, you got men out here getting pedicures with their wives. You
I
got
don't know.
men out here. I don't know nothing about all of that, but you got
Yeah,
these men out here talking about that if the woman don't make 6 figures and she not she don't have $100 at least $100 budget to take him out on meals, and these men are more well groomed than most of the women that they're around.
yeah,
It's just a
right.
different breed of whatever's going on and what transitions are being made.
Yes,
It's foreign
uh,
to me.
me too. And speaking of dad, I can tell you the one time I saw my father cry. It was at his mother's funeral, but it was no tears. It was like no. It was no like flowing tears. It was when they moved the coffin to go past him. We was all sitting in a row, and when they moved the coffin to go there, I saw one tear go down, just one, not even both eyes, just one tear go down my father. He wiped that thing so quick. I was like, is that a tear that I saw from my dad?
And you was looking too, weren't you, Miss
I was
Yo?
looking as hard, I was looking as hard as I can look. I was looking like that. But I was told by my mother that when I eloped with my husband, that my father cried.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't around me, but I was way in another state. And I was like, oh, really? And then I really felt bad. But I have never seen my father do that. Never. Yeah, but anyway, I'm just saying, that's why I'm saying this stuff is new to me. And my husband not a crybaby neither. I no, at all. Not at all. So yeah, I gotta get used to this new stuff, or not. or not.
Or not.
I
Like
don't know.
my son used to say, or nah, ma, or nah, nah.
Yeah,
Like, nah, everything ain't for everybody. But, we just happen to still be living in a time where
yeah.
it means like, relationships are evolving. People are really kind of, I don't know what's going on, but to me, it's just out of order.
I got some things
It's
in my
out of
head.
order. That's all I got to say to that. It's just out of order. When
Yeah.
you got the men around here and their hairline is straighter than the women's, and they, got the women
Yeah.
out here being at home on they PS5s and all of this other stuff. That's strange and
Yeah.
foreign to me. I can't, because I was raised in a household where everybody worked. My very first job, my dad
Yeah.
had his own business. I was
Mhm.
in his place of business conducting business at the age of
Mhm.
12 before I could
Right.
even get a work permit. But it was different back then. So it was instilled in me and I'm so grateful for it, but it was instilled in me from a young
Me
age.
too.
So
Oh
it's like
Lord.
the people that are lazy and that are trying to cut corners, and they want everything handed to them, and they don't want to get anything
Mhm.
off of their own girth. It's just, it's kind of mind boggling to me.
Isn't
But
it?
I don't
Isn't it?
have sympathy for people that ain't gonna go out there and get it for themselves. And I
No,
have much respect for people that literally don't want handouts and want to go out there and make it happen for themselves.
that's the only way you're gonna make something move. If you get up off that and get it yourself. That's just all. That's it. That's all. And speaking about that, the crying about the man crying, when somebody in the household, the man was always the one that went to the door to answer the door if somebody knocked. Well, no
Fact.
children answer no doors. We have men. You better not go to no door. That's the man's job to protect the house. And if you got a man that's a crier with a box of tissues, look, that's me. You have to be. Look, what y'all talking about?
For real.
Um, somebody got some men that'll push the woman out front with the flashlight. Go, baby, go see what that is. No, you go see what that is. What y'all got? I don't know what people got going on, but go ahead, Miss Kim. I ain't gonna go off the subject because
And I also remember there was a time where if my dad wasn't at home and somebody came to the door, my mother would not answer the door.
no, not at all. No,
Nobody was home as far as whoever was at the door was concerned. Nobody knew. She
no,
was not to answer that door if her husband was not home. He would answer the door.
that's right.
Period. You're
That's
right. Absolutely.
oldest
That's a
brother was
great
left
point.
in charge. Yeah, my oldest brother was left in charge. That's when he was older, though.
Mhm.
Nobody opened that door. Yeah, but yeah. So this is just a new day, Mr. Keeman. I guess I'm gonna speak for myself. I guess I have to keep up with the times. But this is really something. But go ahead. It's crying
No,
man
it's
shit. That's
happened
all I'm
for
saying.
me too. I'm telling you, and I struggle. I struggle with it because we got kids, even if
Yeah,
they are grown. I got one that's grown and one that's not grown quite yet. But
yeah,
the fact of the matter is it's still got a lot of life, and I have
yeah,
sons, and they're males and they're masculine,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
they're
thank
sure about who they are and their preference. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And so
yeah.
you got these all, and then listening to Kwame Brown. So shout out to Kwame Brown Bus Life when he talks about the potential snares and the setups that these females and these women
Yeah.
and the links that they go through in order
Mhm.
to snare somebody that looks like a good provider, that
Oh yeah.
somebody that has a couple dollars in their pocket, that have resources, that can, they
Mhm.
look at them as a come up. And speaking from my sons, they represent well, and so they carry themselves a certain way.
Mhm.
and they stand out in a room. So they have those qualities. And as a
Oh
mother,
yeah.
it truly concerns me as well as their father, right?
Mhm.
So
Oh yeah.
like where, we have to really be aware. I can't just be in my bubble and not
No,
and
not at all.
not being abreast on the type of temperature and the type of climate that we are in when it comes to male and females, and we are at war with each other. We are not cohesive as a
Right.
unit collectively. Everything has been weaponized to where the woman and the man they don't like each other, they don't respect each other. It's all about what can you do for me,
Mm-hmm.
or it's not about what can we do together, and they don't
Yeah.
trust one another. You got
Mhm.
prenups, you got
Yeah.
men who don't even want to propose and get married, you got women that don't want to take it a step further unless they get married. They don't want a prenup. They think all they have to do is look pretty and be a female in order to get and gain everything, and in the process, if they got to take a man down to do it, so be it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a whole different phenomenon for me. And I'm
Yeah.
so glad that
Yeah. It's
I am the age that I am, because I would probably be lonely. I would probably be by myself for real, okay?
yeah, you're right, Mr. Gimme, about everything you said. And I feel for my son every time because he's not my daughter too. They're neither one of them are married or anything, but he already have his own home and no children. And imagine someone trying to like him or get with him because he has something already. So I'm always like, well, wait a minute, hold on, who is she? Where her mama at? I'm still in your business. I don't care how far I'm away from. I'm still in your business. I'm
Yeah,
still checking in. You have to do that. So we do have to keep them aware of
yeah.
everything. You gotta stay up on these new times, this new stuff going on. So yeah,
Mhm. That's
that's
it.
mhm.
Definitely. We will never stop being parents. That's one
No,
thing for sure. I don't
no,
care how old they get. They
not at all.
definitely become more independent and more self-sufficient. But I
Mhm.
know mine, he'd be like, Mama, I know I need some advice. Mama, what you think about this? Mama,
Yeah, yeah. I'm
and I'm
glad I got the relationship too. Thank
glad that you
God.
came to me
Ooh, thank
versus
God.
somebody else, right? Because you
Yeah.
just never know. You
Mhm.
just never know, right?
Yeah,
So
right. Yeah.
listen, CX, you and me both. I was listening to Rodney earlier, and my father collected coins, and he
Oh yeah.
collected mint coins. So
Uh-huh.
I'm getting ready to go dig out those mint coins, and I'm getting ready to look up and see, because I already knew some of them are presidential. They have paperwork that's
Mm-hmm.
presidential, and
I'm gonna show it to you.
I knew they were going to be worth money. Some of them
Mhm.
got to be like 50 years old, 60 years
Yeah.
old.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
The
I know
CX
about
got
the corn
laughing.
collections too. Yeah. I have some corn collections. Yeah, yeah, uh-huh. I told you my granddad used to give you the little 50-cent pieces and I told you hold your hand. Remember I
You
told you
remember
all
the
this?
$2 coins?
Sure do. Surely do.
Mhm. I
Uh-huh.
have some of those too. I remember at one point he had like $600 worth of $2 coins. That was all he collected
Mm-hmm.
before he got into the mint, the presidentials. But I was like,
Yeah.
I just knew. I said, I know he. Even though I was a little girl, I said he know what he doing.
And
You keep on collecting them coins, Daddy.
those buffalo corns too, Mr. Kimmy, the buffaloes. You know the
Yep,
buffalo?
that's what CX
Uh,
said. That he found
uh,
a buffalo nickel. Yep.
oh, okay. Uh-huh. I know what you're talking. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Facts, facts. So, all right, we got one more topic that's on the table for this particular live, and Miss Yo actually made a great suggestion to actually make this a series, because when you're
It's a lot.
talking about relationships, this is super multi-layered.
Yeah.
um, Relationships are already naturally complicated, and
Mm-hmm.
the climate and in the times we're living in, complicated doesn't seem to fit.
Right.
It's
Right.
become extremely unexplainable in some aspects. But
Mm-hmm.
we're here to at least try to give some type of balance, and kind of provide a little bit of information and wisdom from the yesteryear, and how it may be able to be incorporated into our current times in order
Mm-hmm.
to bring back some natural form of order, the way relationships were originally designed, and not just designed, but they were successful in.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they yielded the
Mm-hmm.
desired outcomes in, that people actually prospered collectively as well as individually in a union. And marriage, and however, whatever the belief is on it, because I know there are a lot of people, when you really start digging in that rabbit hole, that the union of marriage, the marriage certificate, and all of that other stuff with the birth
Yeah.
certificate, social security numbers, that can yield a whole nother conversation,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
people
Mm-hmm.
are becoming more aware of the origin of these institutions, right? And
Right.
so they're shying away from that. But not only that, but we're in a culture where people are really very comfortable, particularly women that do
Mm-hmm.
get married. They're
Mm-hmm.
getting married for the wrong reasons. They're trapping, some of them are trapping men that are wealthy into having children so they don't have to work. And
Yeah.
then things don't work out, or when you decide you want to go your separate way, or that person, that wealthy person, doesn't want to deal with you anymore, now you
Mm-hmm.
want to drag him down to the ground and take everything he's got on the way out the door, which is
Uh-huh.
men very leery of even committing, much less taking it a step further and saying, I'm willing to join with you in the union of marriage. And
Mm-hmm.
so all we're trying to do is just say that with some balance, these are some of the things that can be yielded, and some of the topics that can be divisive because of the war between man and woman right now as we know it,
Mm-hmm.
collectively again, right? That
Yeah.
this is how it's supposed to look, and
Mm-hmm.
this is not the norm, right?
Right.
This is
Mm-hmm.
not the norm. This is not what you have to look forward to per se, even though that's what's being put on the forefront. Even though you got these movements like the soft guy era, the feminist women movement, the
Right.
modern women movement, you got witches out here, you've got you just, there's a lot, black magic, you guys, there's a
Yeah.
lot going on out here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so just trying to give some context to the relationship aspect of it. And Miss Yo, I'm so glad that you're here, because you give a refreshing perspective. And when people, when you speak, right, people want to know that you're speaking from experience, that it's
Right.
authentic.
For
And that's
real.
the thing that people can say that applies to you, is that whatever comes out your mouth is going to be, and you always tie your experience to your wisdom, which
Yes.
validates what you've been through. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a wonderful, wonderful way to be able to make an impact and to educate people, and for people to take you serious and to say, well, she definitely knows what she's talking about in this area, so maybe I can use some of these principles to apply to my situation or my
Yeah.
life, or maybe it'll help me make some necessary adjustments.
Yeah, and can I just add one little small thing? Thank you, Mr. Kim. They were very sweet words. I appreciate that. And I do try to live by example. And then, like you said, everything that I'm saying is because I either been there myself or know many, more than one person that's been there and done that and how it turned out. That's why I feel like I can speak about it. But when we talk about marriage, yes, you're right. Everybody's not looking at marriage anymore because of the legalities and different things that we, discovered over the years. Nevertheless, there's a lot of laws that you don't know about for common law marriages. So that can be even more detrimental to you as well as that marriage certificate.
Say
So
it, Miss Yo.
whether you be common law or not, you know, either way, it's a bad thing if you two, your partners, don't have an understanding before y'all get into whatever type of living arrangement y'all want. You did? Contracts. That's all I want to say on that part, okay?
Yes.
Right.
Speaking of contracts, that kind of leads us into our next topic, right? And this is one that I have found to be, and I think it's appropriate, especially for the sprinkle, sprinkle, drizzle, drizzle, soft guy era movement, where the men are like saying, no, we're going to flip the script. First, the women started it, right? The modern
Yeah,
women saying
yeah,
that, no, all I have to do is be feminine and look pretty.
yeah.
That's all I
Just
got to do. I spend all of this money on my makeup. Well, do you work? No. But where do you get the money from? My man provides it for me. Well, uh,
mm,
okay, I digress. But anyway, My
Yeah,
point
yeah.
being is that now the men are saying, no, we're going to put a mirror up.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to use the same terminology, the same concepts, the same conversation, the same vocabulary, and we're going to apply it to you now. So now, no, not only are we saying, no, we're not going to do this for you anymore. We're not going to be your suckers. We're not just going to accommodate a big butt and a smile and some eyelashes and a front lace. What we're going to do is we're going to say, because we understand our power. Right now, you got 18 to 20 women to one man. And that, even to me, that's lowering or high, depending on how you're looking at it, the more ratio of women to the lesser ratio of men, that gap is going to be widened because of the agenda that's out on our masculine men. So you got men out here, but are they masculine? Are they part of the alphabet community? Are they beta male? Which is nothing is wrong with a beta male if that's what you're looking for. A self-sufficient male, somebody that can provide. So you're looking at different categories of men, not just right now. We're looking at it from a data context by saying, okay, the numbers, this is what we're looking at. But when you start dividing it off into categories, into echelons of types of men, that even widens the gap more, right? So now you have these men understanding and realizing their power and the demand and supply effect, and saying, we tripping, dudes. We are tripping, because the numbers don't lie. And right now, we got the upper hand if we use it to our advantage. And so at the very least, we're going to do 50-50. Right? So that brings us to the next topic of, what do you feel about the 50-50 rule? But before you answer, let me play one more video on the female's opinion on how she views the 50-50 role. And again, this is for entertainment purposes. This is not saying that this reflects me or Miss Yo Thought's opinions or our viewpoint on the topic. I like to pick out at times video references that will stimulate conversation and that will give you can give some pushback on, or you can say, I disagree with that, but let's look at it from this standpoint, right? So
Kimmy, can I say just one thing real quick, please? Okay, so I'm just thinking, well, when you're speaking and you're talking about the drizzle and the sprinkle thing. The thing that bothers me and that keeps saying to me, it's like the games people play. It tells me that everybody playing these games, but what they don't realize is life expectancy is not as long as they think. So instead of y'all playing the sprinkle and the drizzle, y'all better tighten it up to get it right, because it's not a game. We're going to do this because y'all doing this. We're going to do that because y'all doing this. That's just insanity to me. Who have time for that?
Absolutely. When I did, I'm just going to give some context to this. So the last 3 videos I've done, 2 of them, one of them was a live on Sprinkle, Drizzle. Then I did a premiere off of that one. And then I did a spinoff that wasn't focusing on the soft guy era specifically, but it was a spinoff on relationships. I got almost 3,000 views collectively on that one video, and then the one premiere, and then the live that I did yesterday, I think I'm a little over 100.
Yeah, I saw those videos. That's crazy.
Tells you, I had and that didn't come from this sector. That went into the manosphere sector.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That told me that this is a whole movement. So whether they actually looked at it as satire or to prove a point initially, I already knew, whether they said it that way or not, that this was going to take a life of its own. And all you had to do was get more men on board.
Yeah.
And that was the whole
That's crazy.
This
is To me. I mean,
Yeah.
nobody has to be playing those games. Like I said, we need to get back to the basics. Male, female, procreating. Period. That's what this is all about. Procreating is what it's supposed to be about, not that extra stuff. All the other stuff is extra. That's where we lost that. That's where we lost that. I digress. Ooh.
If the shit hit the fan and all of this materialistic stuff, in a minute, ain't none of that's gonna matter. The value of the dollar is already crazy. Already crazy. I took my son out to the mall today, and I can't tell you how quick $300 went. Like in 15 minutes, it was gone, and we walked out with 2 bags for $300. I was like, nah, I'm old school, so I'm always looking for sales. I'm always looking for deals. I like nice value stuff, but I don't like paying full price and retail price for none of it because they're inflating the prices as it is. But I use that as an example because at the end of the day, I see where all of this is going. And in a minute, everything, like Miss Yo said, the life expectancy is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And the pandemic really opened my eyes to that, because when I realized how people were dropping like flies, no disrespect to the deceased, I'm just saying that's how fast people have been going, and nobody knew why. Nobody can answer as to it. Just like boom, 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 boom. Family members, they're not here anymore, and we're spending time being narcissistic. We're spending time thinking of self.
Sprinkle. Damn, that's a shame. I'm gonna sip a sip. How about that?
That are being argued between the man and the woman. We need each other
badly, and we just don't even know it. How bad? Yeah.
We need what? All you have to do is ask yourself. No, for real. And I'm being so real right now.
Yeah.
All you have to do is look at the measures. If you're woke, you woke. If your eyes open, it's open. Then you know, right? But if it's open, just look at it through this lens. If the powers that be are so calculative and so intentional and go through such lengths in order to divide the family, to me, that's a bell that goes off that must be key. That must be important.
Right.
That must be vital, because these people are going, but none of their family structures are being threatened and compromised. Targeted to certain demographics of people. But when I tell you it's being hit from all fronts, from the food to the air, down to the water, all the essentials that they're taking control over, right? Now, because of to me, in my opinion, they've weaponized child support. I think there should be DNA tests for every child that's born before a father's name is put on the birth certificate. I don't care if you're married or you're single. A DNA, now that it's widespread, it's easy to get, it's normalized. It should be done when a child is born, especially if the child, the custodial parent is putting child support on the non-custodial parent, right? Not present. Because what they've done is they weaponized it to, there's a whole movement and a whole lifestyle of men being targeted, wealthy men that are deemed successful, men that are independent, that don't have a lot of baggage or children or whatever. Now they become targets. And there are elaborate schemes that are being orchestrated every single day from women that don't feel like they want to go out there and get it from the mud for themselves. And now it has bred an entire distrust between men and women, to where we can't even have the conversation of marriage anymore. We can't even have now you got men saying they don't want no kids.
Yeah, it's really what it's just a whole lot, Miss Kimmy. That's like a whole lot going on.
I had to bring it up.
Yeah, no,
Because
no,
it's been motivating me to do this type of content, is to at least tell a different story or a different side of the story, that it's not all
right, yeah,
right?
right, yeah, right. It is, but like you said, it's designed. But what we need to do, I'm talking about our people. What we need to do is sit back and watch the other people that's telling us how we should live our lives. How
And
are
how
they
they
living
make
theirs?
boom, that part.
How can you tell me? How can I get advice from you and you tell me how to live mine when yours is not right?
Facts.
You see, that's the only way that works. See, so that don't make any sense. We have dropped the ball when it comes to believe, like that thing said, believe all women. Well, so you can believe all the politicians. So you can believe all the lawmakers. You can believe all the statistics. You're gonna believe your lying eyes. You can't see that our families are being destroyed and our little community is being destroyed by listening to the outside noises and outside people that don't even know what's really going on with us as an individual inside. They know what's going on with us on the outside because they studied us. They've been studying us from the beginning of time.
They haven't just studied us, but they've adopted
Yeah, man,
the
I'm just saying,
history.
listen, that's why it's so important to know thyself. If you don't know who your mother is, know who you are. If you don't know who your daddy was, at least get to know who you are. That's all I'm saying. And once you do that, your DNA, the DNA that runs thousands and thousands and thousands of generations in your body and in your spirit, it will kick in. It will guide you in the way that you should go. Those angels, and those angels are your ancestors, will kick in and guide you. But first, take time out to be quiet, still, and get to know who you are as an individual. Once you do that, you can move mountains. But you can't if you keep listening to all these people about the drizzle and dibble dibble, and I'm a man and I'm a female and I'm a this person and I'm a no. You are a human being. You are a human being on this earth, living.
Being is present. That's a present term.
Being. You are a human being here. See? But anyway, yeah, hey, yeah. We got to stop listening to these people. We got to start building up our families. Keep having our babies. Keep raising our babies, mama and daddy, in the household together. Right?
Stop using birth control center or abortion clinics as forms of birth control.
Right. Get to know the moon cycle, ladies, and you'll know when it's time to have sex and when you can get pregnant when you can't. You don't need no birth control pills.
Quit putting all of these foreign substances and these pharmaceuticals where they say you prevent you from getting pregnant. That's the whole plan. Let me tell you something. I live in an area where fertility, when you drive through the white neighborhoods, there are nothing but fertility clinics.
Yes.
Nothing but fertility clinics. Okay.
Yes.
And I'm talking they're full. Traffic going in, traffic coming out. These people are utilizing these facilities,
saving eggs and everything.
But they give disenfranchised communities abortion clinics, birth control pills, the depot shot, poor diet options, fast food restaurants. You go into local, if you even have a local grocery store in the community, the produce section is super small, but you got all of the cereals, you got the meat section this big, you got the all the processed foods, the mac and cheese, the canned goods, you got aisles and aisles and aisles of that. But when it comes to anything that's facilitating life, that promotes health, that promotes like Miss Yo said, procreation, they're not going to promote that. So we have to take that into our own hands, and it starts on a small scale within our homes.
Yes.
Our children. Even we're a grown or we've lived enough life to where we don't feel like it's going to affect us too much longer.
Mhm,
If you
mhm.
have family members and children, it doesn't end with you. It is our responsibility to facilitate and educate those around us.
So they take their seeds and they freeze theirs and tell you to kill yours.
Mm.
They freeze theirs and tell you to kill yours. They can afford to freeze their seeds, their eggs, and let them lay there until they get ready for them. But if you ain't ready, they tell you to kill yours. You ain't gonna never be ready. But they
And
gonna
you
be ready.
don't even get the fetus.
Yeah, no,
They
it's
use
crazy. But
it
anyway,
for
yeah,
science. They use it for experiments. They take the
mhm.
valuable stuff out of the fetuses and give it to their people.
Anytime a woman can't have her own placenta to take home with her after she have her baby, you know it's a problem.
Uh, Come on now. They have built civilizations off of the placenta.
Yeah, yeah. I told you it's a whole lot, Mr. Kimmy. It's a whole lot we can talk about when it comes to
I know you lying, Selena. I know you lying. Who
it's
in
just
the world? Who in the world? You know a student who is 11 years old?
that's
Whew,
sad.
I don't
She
even
ruined
know how to
her life.
respond to that. That
She
is
ruined the
right.
rest of her life. Who is her mother? Where her mother's mother?
Listen, and let me tell you, I feel bad for our education system, our teachers, the
Wow.
students. I advocate, and I know all of my. And I'm not saying this to brag. This is just real life because my parents were like this with me when it came to my education, and this was instilled in me, and so I pass it along, this is just how I move. But
Yeah,
I've always had an issue with sending my kids to a public school, so I've always been very
yeah,
particular about the
yeah,
schools they go to, and no matter what school they go to, they know my face, they know my name, they know my
yeah,
kids, they know that I'm gonna pop up, they know that I'm gonna be
mm,
at all the functions that come through on the apps. They know I'm gonna interact. The principal
yeah.
knows me. All of the staff is familiar with me. That's just how
Mhm,
I operate. And I
mhm.
can't tell you how many times I hear them say, it's a breath of fresh air for you to actually have a parent that is invested in their child's education or that care
Mhm.
enough about their child to not use us just as babysitters, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
so it's like this is where what we've come to when it comes to and then we got teachers that are just they don't have they're underpaid, they're overworked. And so when once you weigh all those things out and you got these kids that they expecting the teachers to raise and discipline while the iPad and the TV and social media babysits them at home, and
Mhm.
depending on what is being instilled in them while they're at their collective homes, now they go to school, they're acting out, and they expect for these teachers to teach, to discipline, and to tolerate disrespect and bad behavior.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. It's a new day. It's a new day. But that's crazy about this little baby girl that's 11 years old. That's doing this. I'm sure she did start a cycle, but that is just unheard of.
I started my cycle when I was 12, but
Yeah, but
my
was unheard of
parents
for them to
didn't
be
put
taking
me.
pills.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
unheard
just
of.
saying the Depo shot was out there, and birth control pills was
Yeah,
out there. You know what I was taught? You keep your legs
that's
closed.
right. Yeah, right.
You ain't
We
got
can,
to worry about all of that because it ain't just about getting pregnant. It's about diseases out here. And at that time, AIDS was not you were dying from AIDS. So that was
yeah,
enough for me. You don't have to tell me one time. I was like, yeah, I'm good on all of that. I can definitely wait.
it's so sad. It's just
It
so
is
sad.
sad. No, I definitely. Okay, so I know we pivoted, but I want to get
Yeah,
to this last
yeah.
video talking
We
about.
still
I
think
know
ahead.
it'll go left quick.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
goodness, when it comes to these kids, it's like, what do
yeah.
we do?
Stuck.
You know,
I'm
what do
stuck
we
right
do?
there.
Yeah, so we're talking about the 50-50. concept of the
Okay.
woman and the man each bringing their
Yes.
50% to the table. And this is just a short clip of showing a perspective on the 50-50.
Okay.
Hold on.
Can you explain why men want to go half on everything? Sure, I can. Hello, my name is Carla, and restoring healthy mindsets is my thing. Should you accept the 50-50? No. I'm going to make this into a series because it's easy to forget. And whenever you do want to go 50-50, or whenever your man wants to convince you to go 50-50, you're going to go to my account, you're going to click on the playlist, and you're going to watch it until it sticks. So here we go. Let's explain the mentality of the 50-50. It's actually our fault. Our fault as women. With the age of, I'm an independent woman, I can do anything type of mentality, this is what we've caused. This is what we've created. On top of that, inflation, but we'll get into that in a little bit. A lot of these men have forgotten what it means to be a man, what it means to be a provider, what it means to be a gentleman. And like I said, half of that is our fault because we've let them slide, excused them, said, it's okay, he's broke. First of all, baby girl, why are you dating a broke man in the first place? Nevertheless, should this mentality be accepted? The reason why I say no is absolutely coming from a personal experience type of place. I personally don't like the 50-50. I don't find a man that does 50-50 to be attractive. Does that mean that you can never do 50-50? Absolutely not. Me and my husband, for example, I've mentioned this before, he takes care of all of the outside bills. Rent, electricity, gas, the cars. He takes care of all that, and I take care of all the inside. Food, cleaning supplies, furniture, pots, pans, anything that has to do with the inside, clothes. But that's because we are barely starting off our careers. And I made it very known to him that as soon as he's able to afford all of the expenses, I'm not going to handle anything. I told him I want him to be responsible for everything. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop working or I'm going to stop following my dreams, but I want him to be a man and I want him to step up and know his role in my life.
Now, I don't agree that she should be teaching a man what his role is at all.
Not at all.
If I get with the man, he's going to have to know his role. I'm not going to teach. I got sons. I'm not getting with no grown man teaching him how to be a man. If he ain't coming into the relationship already having that information and having that down pat, then we fighting a losing battle coming out the gate, in my opinion. But I just wanted to say that. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, maybe that's,
far?
I just want to say I agree with you. She shouldn't be having to tell a man what he need to do, but maybe that's a part of her contract, and maybe this was in the beginning when they were setting the boundaries of what that relationship was going to look like once they got into it. That's the way I'm trying to look at it.
But even so, I'm not a man.
Right.
I can't relate to a man enough to tell a man how to be a man, what a man's role is, what he should be doing in regards to our relationship. And she made it sound as if she set the parameters for the entire basis of the marriage when that's supposed to be his responsibility to establish what the parameters are. And you get on board as the wife, as long as it benefits the both of you. Did you freeze, Miss Yo? Or you there?
No, I'm listening to you. I'm attentive to. I'm listening to you because I hear what you're saying. I hear exactly what you're saying. But I'm also struggling a little bit. I'm trying to figure out because I'm trying to figure out. I hear what she's saying, but I'm thinking she may be trying to tell this man this is what she will accept in a relationship. But like you just corrected me, you said she's saying she wants him to do this, that, and the third. That's what you're saying, right?
That's what I heard. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Yeah,
you want to go back and listen to it again?
Yeah, because I might have been thrown up. I'm sorry.
No, she said a lot. She said a lot. No, definitely. And you have to, I had to listen to this a couple times and I still probably need to do it at least once. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. We gonna ain't nothing another replay won't. But I swear I looked down and your face was froze. I was like, oh shit.
I'm listening.
You was just listening. Okay, all right, y'all. Let's try it again.
Okay.
Hi, Carla. New to your account. Can you explain why men want to go half on everything? Sure, I can. Hello, my name is Carla, and restoring healthy mindsets is my thing. Should you accept the 50-50? No. I'm going to make this into a series because it's easy to forget. And whenever you do want to go 50-50, or whenever your man wants to convince you to go 50-50, you're going to go to my account, you're going to click on the playlist, and you're going to watch it until it sticks. So here we go. Let's explain the mentality of the 50-50. It's actually our fault. Our fault as women. With the age of, I'm an independent woman, I can do anything type of mentality, this is what we've caused. This is what we've created. On top of that, inflation, but we'll get into that in a little bit. A lot of these men have forgotten what it means to be a man, what it means to be a provider, what it means to be a gentleman. And like I said, half of that is our fault because we've let them slide, excused them, said, it's okay, he's broke. First of all, baby girl, why are you dating a broke man in the first place? No. But nevertheless, should this mentality be accepted? The reason why I say no is absolutely coming from a personal experience type of place. I personally don't like the 50-50. I don't find a man that does 50-50 to be attractive. Does that mean that you can never do 50-50? Absolutely not. Me and my husband, for example, I've mentioned this before, he takes care of all of the outside bills, rent, electricity, gas, the cars. He takes care of all that, and I take care of all the inside. Food, cleaning supplies, furniture, pots, pans, anything that has to do with the inside, clothes. But that's because we are barely starting off our careers. And I made it very known to him that as soon as he's able to afford all of the expenses, I'm not going to handle anything. I told him I want him to be responsible for everything. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop working or I'm going to stop following my dreams. But I want him to be a man and I want him to step up and know his role in my life. That was
I got it. I got it. Yeah. I got it, Mr. Kimmy. She dead wrong. She is dead wrong. I got it now. I was like, what the hell? Yeah, I got it.
See, this is what I mean by the role reversal.
Yeah,
right?
wow.
It's like, now if you close your eyes and you alter the voice, that sounds like that should be coming from a man, not a wife.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Uh-huh.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but she lost me.
No. We did. One thing she said was right. Women did mess it up about that 50-50, saying that I got mine the independent thing when you go out to dinner or whatever like that. We messed that part up, trying to take over what their roles were already that was known to them. You go out on a date, the man take care of you, support you, and if you wanted to pay some, you could. But when that house thing comes in as a relationship, husband and wife, no, she shouldn't be saying he do this, he need to do. No, you don't tell him what to do. I get what you're saying. Y'all need to have a conversation on how this is gonna work, right? Don't tell him. He's supposed to be the leader and suggest to you these things that he see as his dream, and you follow. Yeah.
Okay, so correct me. Tell me what you think about this. The way I look at this is that maybe I'm looking at it through the lens of my present age and my present state, right? As opposed to being young, coming out of college, maybe graduating high school, you're establishing yourselves, but you're in love, you know, or you feel at that time that that's the person you want to build with, that's the person you want to spend your life, right? You want to share everything with. So, but my thought process on this is like, that stuff should be discussed before you commingle and you cohabitate and you make such moves to secure to the point where, guess what? If you decide this ain't gonna work out no more, it's not gonna be easy to just go your separate ways.
Right.
Walk away without divvying up assets, without deciding who gets what. If you have children, now you got the children all up in the mix. Why you didn't make clear what the expectations, the boundaries, and the goals were before you guys started this journey and started to mend and gel everything together? Like I said, maybe I'm speaking from the 50-something-year-old Akemi as opposed to the 20-something-year-old Akemi, but either way, it is what it is. That's why I agree with her, because it started out wrong. It's like, and now we've gotten the roles so confused and misconstrued that she feels comfortable in her skin to tell a grown man and the quote unquote leader of the household what to do. and how
That's the
we're
beta
able
man.
to run the whole.
That's who she dealing with. Because she wouldn't be able to tell an alpha male no shit like that. So we got to look at the times and who we talking about and who she's talking to. Because my husband wouldn't go for no. You can't just tell him you got to. No, that don't work like that. No. You see?
Ooh, child. So we're almost done, y'all. So let me just go ahead and finish this video real quick.
Sprinkle, sprinkle, drizzle, drizzle. How do you?
Sprinkle. Ah, Lord have mercy.
Don't burn the incense.
The expectation for him. And he knows it, and he's very aware. This also goes hand in hand with the feminine and the masculine. When you let your man be masculine, you are capable of being in your feminine zone.
Okay, when you let your man be, huh?
I heard that. I just heard that.
When you let
yeah, that's what she said.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure. Let's continue.
Yeah.
You're able to receive and receive with grace. He's able to give and feel like a man because it enhances his masculine when he's able to provide for his woman, because you are the most precious thing that he has, and he needs to see you like that. He needs to see you as a delicate flower that you are, the most precious, not flower, freaking diamond that you are, okay? Beautiful, strong, and expensive. And if a man does not have the capacity to see that, we're in trouble. Again, there's going to be a second, third, fourth, fifth part.
Okay, I want to see how many followers she's got.
She's not about her
relationship. She's got, but you know, look at this.
She's telling people what they want to hear. She's definitely lying about the relationship.
This is the problem I have. It's like you got 1 million people that click the button and say that when you go live or when you make a video, they're going to tune in and listen to what you have to say. And with you giving out information, like I give my man permission, or I give my man parameters, or I give him instruction, what do you think the outcome is going to be? What do you think? And what it's doing is just it's providing more division.
Well, she's first of all looking at him as she owns him.
Yep.
She's looking at him as a piece of property that she owns. She's taking ownership of how he's supposed to move, what his life is supposed to be if she's included in it. She's telling him pretty much how she wants to build a bear. Build a man instead of finding the person that wouldn't mind doing the things that she wants to do. You know, like the perfect fit for her. But yeah, that's crazy. That's real crazy. But she lying. Everything ain't glittering and gold and where she at. I can tell you that now.
No, not if she's got enough time to. Okay, so let me share the screen again because I'm visual, right?
Yeah, too.
So
yeah.
As a content creator, one thing that we realize very quickly is how time consuming this is. And so, y'all, I'm still scrolling. Right?
She's giving the people what they want to hear. That's what she's giving the people. So she's not giving them the truth. She's giving them what they want to hear. And as long as people are listening, she's going to keep pushing out that bourgeois. And that's why we have to be careful. Yeah, that's why we have to be careful of what we let our young children watch, males and females. You got to most of all keep away from this jiggle-bob, right? And find other things for them to do. This and that TV and that stuff is not it. That's a prime example.
No. Yes. I like what IB had to say, and I tend to agree with him. He says she wants to be his mother. At least that's the way she makes it sound.
Yeah. And she might have. And she learned from her mother. That's why she sounded like her mother. But yeah, that's a whole. We covered a lot of stuff, didn't we, Mr. Kiwi?
Yes,
that was
we
a whole
did.
lot.
Oh, we've been in this thing 2 hours.
I'm not sure.
Wow.
I'm see
Yes.
it.
We've been in here 2 hours and 4 minutes, sis.
Yeah, but this was a whole lot that we talked about. If you think about it, just just
Mhm.
think about this different things that we talked about. Wow. Well, I hope somebody got something out of it. I hope they did. And as far as that 50-50, we forgot to speak about that. No, I don't believe in the 50-50 thing when it comes to a relationship. I don't, because sometimes one might have to give a little bit more depending on what category of relationship needs something. Sometimes that person can't bring you halfway. Maybe they have 10% of information that can help their relationship work. Whatever you have to bring to the table to make that relationship work, bring it. That's all you got to do, because y'all are working towards the same goal. So don't worry about who put more in, who took a little bit out, as long as y'all both know that y'all on the same accord and y'all chipping at the same goal. Keep encouraging one another to move forward to reach the goal as a family unit. And you'll be all right in a relationship. Keep the communications open. Tell the man, if you're tired, I ain't got up for 10%, but I'm tired. I can't do it today. Then the husband will say, well, I got it. I'll carry us the rest of the way. He'll take it. That's how you do. You just like in a relay race. One get tired, carry the baton. Let's move it. Let's get there. That is what it's all about in a relationship. Now,
Fact,
that's what I
fact.
gotta say about
Really,
that.
nothing to add on that, honey. You covered it all.
Okay, well, we got it. We
You
got it.
got it.
Yeah.
Definitely. Now
Somebody
for
asked a question.
what's
Somebody
that?
said something. I think I see IB said, he's saying what he's saying. I'm sorry. I happened to glance and see his capital letter, because I always read the chat. He said, I
Oh
think
no.
both should give their all. Yeah, I do too. I see. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, but
Yeah. Hey
okay.
Bolo. Yes,
Well, hey,
welcome.
everybody.
You behind on the video? Okay, all right. Well, that brings me to the point that anybody that is just coming in, please catch the replay. For those that are catching the replay, definitely we have covered a lot. Hopefully, like Miss Yo said, first of all, I appreciate her being here, for dropping the gems and always being so willing and open to share the wisdom that she does so willingly and so freely and so authentically. And so I thank you, and we thank you, and the platform appreciates you. Amen. So for those that are new subscribers, I want to say welcome. I want to say thank you. I want to say I hope that you gain edification, and that every time you do watch a live, that you absolutely leave with more than you came with, and that you can take something that you can implement and activate in your own lives that will bring and yield good fruit, right? Um, I dropped the link at Bolo. While you're here, can you drop Miss Yo's link to her channel? If you haven't subscribed to her channel, Miss Yo, she is such a diverse woman. She's a wife, she's a mother, she's a farmer, she's the matriarch of her family. She's one of the pieces of glue that keeps everything going and together, and just keeps that well-oiled machine moving. And she has so much content and so much diversity. And one thing that I can say that she has is authenticity and transparency, which a lot of people do not provide, being content creators. And so if you haven't,
You.
if you haven't subscribed to her, please go do so. This is my Laverne, and I'm her Shirley. And
That's
I
right.
appreciate her all day, every day, right? So, like I said, I appreciate everybody. We're not going to go ahead and make a long outro. Just if you're coming in and you're not getting notifications, please go in, turn them off, and then turn them back on to all. If you haven't, please go tap the like button, in or out. Miss Yo Thoughts Cash App is at the bottom, not soliciting, just saying if you feel like being a blessing, please do so. And we are pretty much done. Now, I don't know if you have time or if we're interested. We didn't discuss if we were going to drop the link. Whatever you would like to do.
If anybody want to ask
questions, yeah, definitely. We go see, because the last few times I done dropped it, y'all been going away in the chat. And then I dropped the link, everybody get quiet. But this is a safe space.
You better get going.
Yeah, we sit here too long and wait on everybody to make a decision too long. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. I'm
No, no,
just
I'm supposed to Bob all this long time. That's 2 hours. That ain't good.
yeah, no, definitely. I couldn't, but I looked up there and I was like 2 hours. I just did.
Good.
It went by super fast. Thank you,
Yeah,
Bolo,
yeah.
for dropping
Thank
the link. Yes, and you can
Thank
drop
you.
yours as well. Do we have anybody else that has pages in the chat? Writers for Life, if you can drop her link. Hey, Miss Rachel, if she's still in the house, and Miss Selena, her link as well. And if I missed anybody, I'm sure Bolo will catch it. That's if he's able to drop links. Oh yeah, because he's doing it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So yeah, well, we can just go ahead and kind of wrap things up and talk about, like, put everything in a nutshell about the talking points. So we talked about the one that got away.
Yes. The one that got away. The one that got away, sometimes to be right in your face. So work with what you have, because that might be the one that got away if you don't take time with it. That's the one that got away. Remember that. Okay, because there's no perfect man or woman. You're going to have to work with somebody. If they have the majority of the qualities that you're looking for, keep them. It's a keeper. Okay?
Amen. Thank you. And then we talked about is cheating being a deal breaker. Y'all go catch the replay if you missed that portion of it. All of it that got good. You're just gonna have to go back and watch the replay in order to find out for yourself if it's applicable or if it's something that you can benefit from, right? And we also talked about if it shows a man weakness, if he is emotional or if he cries. That definitely was an interesting topic. I think it's up for debate. Me and Miss Yo also wanted to definitely get it from a man's perspective. So there are a couple video clips from men's personal vantage points on the subject. Definitely go check that out. And then the last thing that we touched on was the 50-50 rule. And if everybody thinks that that should be applied to relationships today. Right. And so, all right, with nobody hitting the link, we're going to go ahead and close this thing out. Right.
Good job, Mr. Keeman. Good job.
My sensei, yes. And with that being said, thanks to everybody in the chat. Thank you to my mods. Thank you, Miss Yo. And guess what?
Anytime.
We out this piece, baby. All right.
Yes.